The boys are back in town, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I hope you're doing well. I really do hope that. And welcome back to Chelsea News, the daily series here on the channel where I reflect on what's being said about the boys, those beautiful blue boys from the King's Road, those swanky cockneys from West London. Yes, Liam Twomey's wrote on The Athletic about Chelsea being back in pre-season. We've all seen it, the training photos, and I must say, I'm excited. I'm excited to watch some football, the world champions back in full effect. Look, like I do most summers, I see Wesley Fofana training and I gain hope. But Joao Pedro getting to Cobham for the first time, trophy winner, world champion with the Chelsea. Seeing the training ground for the first time, which is nice. But all the boys, captain, Reece James bowling up, Levi Colwill, all them man. It's exciting. And of course, Estevao Willian turning up, doing an interview, doing some Chelsea media, the hot media we've all been asking for, the young Brazilian prodigy Messinho. Although I don't think he likes the name Messinho, so maybe we need to... that one needs to go. He's his own man. Yep. So he, Cole Palmer, all them man will be linking up for training. Now, of course, we need to temper expectations on Estevao. It's just Estevao's just the name, surely. I'm trying to get a Estevao movement. I don't know if it's going to work. We'll see what happens. But yeah, we've got to temper expectations for him. Look, if we start a game tomorrow, he's not starting. He's just absolutely not. It's Pedro Neto, top boy on the right. Maybe Jamie Gittens on the left, or maybe Cole Palmer on the left. We've seen Cole Palmer occupy. Look, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm going to read an article from Twomey on The Athletic. What issues must Enzo Moresca address? Because we're warming up to it now, guys. We're getting there. So we need to dive in, see Wagwan, and we'll move through it together. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Welcome back to Football Therapy. Yes, we are still on the slow glacial drip speed of being en route to 200,000 subscribers. So if you find you watch my content, come on, just get me over the line here, man. I'm trying daily, every day. I dyed my hair Club World Cup gold. Let's just pretend that was a deliberate ploy. So thank you for liking, thank you for subscribing. Let's get into it. Twomey writes this on The Athletic. The long, intolerable wait is over. A little more than 3 weeks after lifting the Club World Cup in New Jersey, Chelsea are back in pre-season, baby! Back at training at Cobham. Enzo Moresca's team only have time to play 2 friendlies at Stamford Bridge, Bayer Leverkusen on the 8th of August, and then Milan on the 10th. So 2 days in between. It's almost certainly going to be 2 different loads of players, surely. Because you don't just go and play 2 games in a row in the space of a day in between, especially when you're not fit. Imagine if you got an injury to a key player in one of those games. There'd be tears. There'd be tears all over the gaff. Yes, of course. But then we start the new Premier League campaign at home, thank God, against Crystal Palace, which is a formidable opponent, on August the 17th. Could be worse. Could be worse. In fact, we've spoken about this before, the Premier League fixtures. We've got 4 London derbies that don't include Arsenal and Tottenham, I don't think. We've actually got, all things considered, a really kind opener to the season, as in no travelling. Strong opposition, but not insane. It's probably like Brentford, West Ham's, Palace's, dem man. So yeah, it could certainly be a lot worse. No club faced such a tight turnaround between seasons in modern history. Well, we are breaking records all over the gaff. Chelsea and Moresca are confident they are equipped to handle it. They're a confident young group of chaps, and I like it. As they begin to gear up at lightning speed for the new season, The Athletic addresses some key questions being posed to the Chelsea head coach and his squad. Yes, this is what we need. We need to find out what's happening. So how are they looking physically? Chelsea released their first pre-season pictures and training on Monday, which I've spoken about, and there was no holiday fat to be seen. I'm well good at holiday fat. That should be kind of no surprise, as modern elite footballers tend to stay in good shape all year round, maintaining a healthy diet and exercising every day on their own, or with personal fitness coaches, even when not on the clock for their clubs. Yeah, on that, just briefly, Jamie Gittens, apparently, Seb Stafford-Bloor, German football expert for The Athletic, and Tottenham fan, but let's not hold that against him. He knows a lot about Jamie Gittens. He speaks about him like we should be incredibly excited about him. He's got lost in the wash a little bit for Chelsea. Of course, he didn't compete in the Club World Cup. You know, we saw Delap score, we saw Joao Pedro tear it up. Everyone's talking about Estevao, but no one's really talking about Gittens, apart from he was a first choice, important left-sided target, a little bit like Jurel Hato or Jurel Hato, in terms of players we need. But yeah, Seb Stafford-Bloor talks about how Gittens is very exciting and like get you out of your seat player, which I'm excited to have on the left a little bit more, you know, in the absence of Modric and Sancho, etc. So that's a really important signing. But the one thing was he didn't look conditioned and fit enough for Premier League football. So he's been on this extreme, strict training regime over the summer that he has been for a little while now in preparation. And you know it's serious, you know it's good, because his personal trainer was one of Antonio Conte's fitness trainers. Now, if you are a fan who, you know, watches a lot of Chelsea players speak, perhaps like, you know, Cesc Fabregas or Eden Hazard or John Obi Mikel, players that... Was Mikel already gone of Conte? Anyway, I think he was there for Conte. Anyway, certainly Hazard and Fabregas and others, they speak about training under Conte, and it's the hardest they've ever trained in their entire lives, the prestigious careers, played under loads of coaches. Conte is synonymous with having insane physical training regimes. So for Jamie Gittens to be training with one of his man is a good sign, you'd have to say, in terms of getting whipped into shape, ready for the season. Those ingrained habits, fitness habits, were what Chelsea were counting on. Ramping up preparations for competitive action quickly is only feasible if players are building from a solid base of fitness, which all indications suggest they are. That's good. Re-establishing the level of specialised conditioning that footballers need to see them through a 10-month season is the next challenge. We're going to need a big old squad, boys, girls, ladies, gents. The most positive sight from all of Chelsea's first day back at training was Wesley Fofana, training with the first team group as he recovers from his hamstring surgery in April. I'm not going to spend time on him. I get a lot of stick from you guys. He's my favourite defender at Chelsea. I will die on this hill. I'm not saying he will be, because I don't know how he's going to ever recover from these injuries, if he will ever be back. But he has the ceiling to be the best defender in the world. You can at me, although I'm not on Twitter, so you can at me on Instagram, you can comment down below. I think he's the best. Been saying it, I'll say it again. When we got him for only a meagre fee of £69 million sterling, which is what, best part of 80 million euros, I thought we got a great deal. You know, I mean, I didn't know he was going to be injured forever, obviously. But I think he's and it's not just me. I said this early doors, since before we signed him, I'd love him. We signed him, I was elated. We've had a few managers that have coached him, but Moresca has always said, you know, he loves Wes. Wes changes the way we plays. So, but you know, it doesn't mean jack if he doesn't play football. Let's move on. Will Moresca stick with the Club World Cup tactics or revert? Is he trying to change and evolve? Moresca's inspired game plan against Paris Saint-Germain dans le finale was not an unrecognizable shift from his default approach, but it did feature some notable changes. Cole Palmer started on the right wing rather than the number 10 and drifted inside. He's done that loads for Chelsea though. Well, this is an important bit. Gusto pushed up high, overlapping rather than inverting. That was the biggest. He played as a Pochettino-style up and down right back, holding the width. Huge. We need to learn Gusto can't play inside. That's other players can. A Champon can. Cucurella certainly can. Probably Reece James can into central defensive midfield rather than the attacking pocket. But, you know, Moresca's biggest weakness is just for some reason not being able to move past the Gusto inverting experiment. Rob Sanchez also kicked long often, which was important. There were gambits tailored to target what Moresca had identified as PSG's specific weaknesses. You know, so don't expect to see them every week. And that's great. We've heard Moresca being recently described as the master of rotation. No, we all expected this Leicester coach, this dogmatic, philosophically stubborn guy who's just going to play the same way all the time and upset the fans. We even maybe saw a bit of that earlier in the season. But what I want and what we're seeing is a guy looking at opposition and going, actually, no, we're going to do this in this game to win. My manager, you know. He has the personnel in almost every area of the pitch to make selection decisions in response to certain matchups, and Chelsea's tougher schedule in 25-26 will necessitate greater rotation in any case. Back in the Champions League now, boys. But the fundamentals will remain the same. Chelsea will line up with a 4-2-3-1. Will we? That one way or another becomes a 3-4-3. In possession and with a box midfield. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Finding a way to make a box midfield, defend with 5, attack with 5. That's the way. Beyond that, much will depend on opponents' strengths, weaknesses, and tactical approaches. So, what will happen for the exiled players? Chelsea's unwanted players have been working separately at Cobham for almost a month. Wow, building their fitness while they and their representatives work on finding them moves. Elsewhere, there's already been considerable progress in that. So Felix to Al Nassr with a deal worth 50 million euros last week. Goalkeepers, Georgi Petrovic and Kepa Arrizabalaga have joined Bournemouth and Arsenal respectively. Burnley have also agreed for by striker Armando Broja and Leslie Gachukwu in separate deals, yeah. Yeah, lots of business with Burnley. There's been much more work to do. Raz Sterling and Chili B are that's what I'm calling them, not Twomey, I hasten to add, are two headline names with markets that have been slow to develop, unsurprisingly, I suppose. While Axel Disasi, Renato Vega, and Carney Chukwuemeka are all prime sale candidates. Yeah, I reckon we'll have not too much issue selling them, man. Chelsea always expected several of these situations to be resolved later in the summer window. Yeah, I'm feeling a bit more comfortable, especially with Dewsbury Hall also going to Everton as well. I don't think Twomey said that. What about those who are available? Moresca's preparations for the new season are punctuated by a friendly doubleheader at the Bridge, of course, this weekend. With Leverkusen their opponents. Ten Hag's Leverkusen, by the way. I know it's only pre-season, but that would suck. Losing to Ten Hag's the world champions, back at the Bridge, losing to Erik Ten Hag. That would be a vibes killer. And then Milan, of course, the Sunday afternoon. Expect to see almost wholesale rotation in the starting 11 with less than 48 hours between the two games and plenty of substitutions. This is what we want to hear. How does Moresca integrate new young arrivals? Yeah. Moresca was notably cautious with the newer faces in his squad at the Club World Cup. Every outfield player made it onto the pitch in the United States, but the bulk of Chelsea's minutes of the competition was soaked up by the core group who, of course, delivered top 4 and Conference League. Delap and Joao Pedro were the only real expectations to this rule, although Andre Santos also stepped up impressively at the base of midfield when Caicedo, of course, missed the Palmeiras game due to suspension. Yeah, that was. I mean, it was supposed to be Reece James, but was it in training? Anyway, Santos stepped up and did well. Really good moment for him to show the gaffer, yeah, I'm here, I'm ready, mate. Which us Chelsea fans want to see. We want to see Santos, right? Of the summer rivals, or in the case of Santos, a return, these three look best placed to play significant roles in the early weeks. Yeah, Joao Pedro, Delap, Santos. Many supporters will be... Also, Sugo, I think he'll come off the bench a lot for Caicedo to see games out. That's just my opinion. Many supporters will be intrigued to get a look at Estevao, who arrives at Stamford Bridge. He's arrived now. With considerable hype and shone against Chelsea in the Club World Cup. but alongside the excitement, there is also a recognition within the club that the 18-year-old will soon need time to adjust to his new surroundings and adapt to English football. He will be eased in. Yeah, on Estevao as well, he's been very... The way I look at it is, he seems a very pensive, thoughtful guy, obviously quite intelligent, God-fearing young man. I feel like he's quite nervous about Chelsea. He's been open about that. Whereas you get someone like Cole Palmer, who's a little bit more laissez-faire, like it's just whatever, let's just do it. I feel like Chelsea are going to be careful, make sure he's really well integrated, Estevao, and yeah, be careful with him, basically. And fortunately, we are in a position where we can be really careful with him. We're looking good. We're in good shape, man. On the left flank, though, a lack of natural alternatives may mean that Jamie Gittens is elevated quickly towards starting status. The Moresca has shown a willingness to deploy Pedro Neto, and even Palmer, and both at times really well, on the left-hand side. And even Joao Pedro is regarded versatile to play on the left. So, yeah, we're not short. We're in good shape. Yoel Hato is another player who will likely see the pitch for the first time against Leverkusen or Milan, but the fitness and form of Cucurella mean there's no urgent rush to assimilate him. Again, for me, like in the same way I think Asugo might alleviate our player of the season, sort of rest our player of the season, Caicedo in some games. Right, we're winning, let's make sure Caicedo's okay, let's bring on Asudo. Similarly, our second best player of last season was probably Cucurella, just in front of Palmer. I think we'll do that with Hatter, right? We're in good shape. Let's not, stitch ourselves up here. Maybe also Cucurella. He might not quite be on a yellow yet, but maybe he's already winding up the forwards and he's close to a yellow and he's run a lot. Get Hatter on. So I do think they'll see minutes. 3 of Chelsea's young, exciting acquisitions this summer, Pendesar and Paez, of course, have all gone to Strasbourg. Yes, lovely stuff. Terribly exciting, and I'm looking forward to pre-season Chelsea. I think I'm ready. I think I'm all ready for the season. This is football, right? We had no time. We were in the Club World Cup final, and everyone says there's too much football, and in many ways I agree. But I'm here. I'm ready. I know it's my job, and in a way, it's good that there's football for me because it's my job. But sometimes I feel like I just need to get away. I need a rest, and I'm actually going away for a few days. Early next month, but it shouldn't affect covering games. There might be some 3 or 4 days without videos, basically. early warning here, because I never take time off. But I think I'm ready for the football, and I'm genuinely quite excited. I feel really excited. Chelsea have excited me in recent years through signings, just through spending lots of money in these new ownership. Oh, Caicedo and Enzo cost lots of money, they must be good. Oh, Mudryk cost loads of money, he must be good. This is exciting, it's fun. Chelsea. But it's been chaotic. But now I've got the dopamine hit from the new players, but also I have belief in what I'm seeing in front of me. It's true, at the end of last season, if we lose to Nottingham Forest and don't get Champions League, the narrative changes with us a little bit, and maybe we don't get that confidence. We'll probably win the Conference League, but maybe the confidence isn't there to win the Club World Cup. I don't know. It wasn't a knife edge. I saw Michael Owen made a comment about it, like, everyone's terribly excited about Chelsea, but they forget how close they were to not doing all this, which is true. But the fact remains is we did it. And it might have been a sliding doors moment, that Forest game, but it happened. And seemingly the mentality did change. And they do believe in themselves, and they are playing well, and they are a young team that maybe needed that push. That they had it. Maybe the rugby mentality monster, Willie Easter, he's got into their heads now, and they're just good, Chelsea, and they're going to get better. Hopefully. Let me know what you think. Comment down below. Thank you as always for supporting the content. Much appreciated. You can, support by just liking and subscribing. If you do subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified when I upload. And a gentle little reminder that there's daily content over on the second channel, Football Yannick, where I'm very close now to 20,000. Well, say very close. I'm like 19.2 thousand subscribers, so I need like 800 odd more. But yeah, I'm very, very grateful for all the support in there as well. Daily content, non-Chelsea stuff, but you might be interested in me chatting football generally. So search Football Yannick on YouTube or click the link in the top of the description. All right, mate. Take care of yourselves. See you back here soon. Peace.